When you tap on a keypad, a letter appears. Keep tapping, the words form a text. Each tap an action that you carry out because you know what happens next. When you scratch your nose, the itch goes away. When you press on a doorbell, it rings. It's our confidence in cause and effect that makes us do so many things. And yet 300 years ago, David Hume, a cheerful Scot, made clear the idea of causation, on which we rely such a lot, is logically nonsensical, groundless, indefensible, frankly far from sensible. You think cause exists? It does not. Hume was a strict empiricist, the opposite of Descartes. Descartes thought, therefore he was, but for Hume that's a misguided start. For empiricists like Hume, the mind is not the place to begin. It's external experience, hitting our senses, that sparks any thinking within. The mind's fired up by the outside world. It wouldn't exist without data. For empiricists, it's sensations first. The mind steps in later. If it's true we must follow our senses to make any sense of reality, then Hume says we make a massive mistake with our senseless belief in causality. For instance, if we roll a ball across a billiard table to strike a second ball which rolls, we think that we are able to say the impact of ball A has caused ball B to move. But Hume says that's just nonsense. It's not something we can prove. Based purely on perceptions, what do we truly see? We see ball A, we see ball B. But where is cause? We see no C. Two moving balls, but in between, a thing called cause cannot be seen. Strictly on the evidence, what we call causation is a colourful misreading of plain association, an imaginary connection the human mind invents, which adds a bogus meaning to two separate events. How could rational creatures like us make such an irrational link? What led humankind to develop this glitch in the way we all think? A followed by B. A followed by B. The more that we see A followed by B, the more we expect to see B follow A. And as we keep seeing B follow A, then we start to say A causes B and B's caused by A. In science, it's known as induction, when a pattern is induced from repeated observation and a theory or law is produced. There's just one snag, which Hume was first to flag. It's quite a surprise that it needs pointing out, the obvious reason why we need to doubt, but humans, quite simply, cannot tell the future. We have no crystal ball. Past experience is useful, but no guarantee at all. You may witness the same thing 100 times, but the 101st event cannot by any provable truth be predicted 100%. We can have a good guess at what happens next based on what's happened before, but we're working with high probability, not magical mystical wizardry. Supernatural powers are simply not ours. It's the future. How can you be sure? We cannot be certain next time we see A, what we see next must be B. Que sera, sera, to quote Doris Day, the future's not ours to see. The expectation that B follows A is a habit, says Hume, nothing more. No better thought through than a dog thinking food when it hears a bowl clank on the floor. Cause is an animal instinct, not an immutable law. When Hume says cause does not exist, most reasonable people dispute it, but no thinker or logician since has managed to refute it. So why do anything? What's the point? Why aren't we frozen by doubt? Hume's problem of induction is such a huge obstruction, yet happily, as Hume observed, we have found a way out. A totally rational, logical life would drive any one of us crazy. The great news for the human race? Our minds are far too lazy. Who cares if cause does not exist? Our attitude's blasé. We carry on as if it does. It's easier that way. Since cause is a central pillar on which everyday life depends, a mitigated skepticism is what Hume recommends. Cause is a faulty concept, but still one of the best we've got. As a tool for human progress, it's helpful more often than not. So long as we know it's an error, in Hume's eyes it's forgivable to assume cause as a principle, as it makes our lives more livable. Hume's problem of induction still keeps scientists on their toes, reminding even the best there's nothing they can presuppose. But uncertainty can be creative. It needn't be doom and gloom. Einstein would never have overthrown Newton, he said, had he not read Hume. Of all the false beliefs we maintain, causation is one of the oddest, a reminder, however big your brain, to be intellectually modest. Acknowledge your illogicality. Accept it as best you can. Be a philosopher, but, said Hume, amidst philosophy, be still a man. Or woman.